they don't do anything. They have no clue how many leads they're getting. They have no clues how many people they're getting on the phone. They have no clue who are getting to the consultation stage, and they have no clue who's actually converting them the consultation stage into an actual client. So in regards to like what people are doing, most people don't do this at all.
We're here with Chris Lyle, the founder and CEO of Law Hustle, and today we're going to be talking about KPIs, which are key performance indicators of your law firm. Chris, what are some common front-end KPIs that firms should be looking at?
I mean, a lot of firms, I mean, the details are in the number. If you're not tracking your numbers at all aspects of your firm from beginning to end, you're kind of missing out on potential opportunities of growth, if that makes any sense. But me, I like to say that I'm not the expert on the in-practice KPIs because those are like, no, not my thing. But the pre-game, which is the lead to conversion KPIs, that's like my bread and butter. That's like, I always look at those. I always make sure that we're on the right track. But key things that people are doing right now is they don't do anything. They have no clue how many leads they're getting. They have no clues how many people they're getting on the phone. They have no clue who are getting to the consultation stage, and they have no clue who's actually converting them the consultation stage into an actual client. So in regards to like what people are doing, most people don't do this at all. Don't track it.
Yeah, I think there's if you're not tracking your lead to conversion KPI, I think Peter Drucker once said, only what gets measured gets managed, right? So many businesses and law firms are just not even managing their KPIs or their front end KPIs. They're so focused on the in practice KPIs. So what if someone's just starting to say, okay, hey, let me start looking at lead to conversion? What do they do?
Yeah, I mean, you should track it. I mean, you can go into great detail, but if you want to look at the broad picture, you want to track your intake system as a whole. Like, it's all about transparency. You want to know where all your leads at and where they are at in the process. So one of the things you want to know is how many leads you're generating, and of those leads, what sources did they come from? Did they come from Google Ads? Did they come from referrals? Did they come from Facebook ads or whatever? That you want to be able to track your sources so you can narrow down your conversion rate for each one of the sources, so you can only spend money in the area that you want to spend money on that gets you the best results, right? That's one. Two, so you got to know how many leads you're getting, and then of those leads, how many are actually getting to the consultation stage? Like, how many people are actually raising their hand and saying, yes, I want to talk, and getting to that call, right? Not only booking, so you're going to track how many people are booking, but then how many people are showing up. You want to know your leads, you want to know your booking rate, you want to know your show rate, and then also you want to know your conversion rate of how many of those people you actually have a chance to talk to convert into actual paying clients, right? And you may want to know how many of those clients those potential leads are bad leads. Like, maybe you want to track your abandon rate too as well. That's a good one as well, because maybe your abandon rate can be, related back to a particular source, and then you can cut that source or edit the ads, or, you know what I mean? So these are all moving things. They're dynamic. As long as you're tracking them from beginning to end, you have the data in front of you to like edit a source, edit something, you need more lead volume, right? Whatever you need, you can always track all of it, right? And then that's just like the system as a whole. But then individually, you should be tracking your people that work within that process itself, right? This is what I like to think. It's like, if you're making text messages or you're sending out emails or you're calling people, like, I want to know what the output is. Like, how many calls are you actually making? If you are making calls, like how many calls you're making, and of those calls, how many opportunities are created? The opportunity would be like how many people you actually get on the phone, right? And then the output would be like how many of those opportunities actually turn into something that you want. So you should track everything at a whole, the department level, the intake level, everything from lead to conversion. And then also individually, it's like, what's that individual output? Or what's that individual output? What opportunities are they creating? And how many of those opportunities are they actually bringing to the end? I don't know if anybody's ever monitored their calls for their intake people, but I bring on some clients sometimes, and then I monitor, like, right at the beginning, like, we'll monitor a few of their calls, And I don't know if people are having bad days, but like these are not the type of conversations you're going to be having with leads because it just turns them off and then they never hire you for
Yeah.
as the attorney. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's amazing how many times things just aren't even being monitored or measured. Instead, it's a little bit of like, well, we're just going to spend some money on ads, or we're just going to put a yellow page ad, or whatever you're going to do, and just hope things work. And so, just monitoring each step, it gives you opportunities to fix and improve. Talk to us a little bit about, if someone's trying to implement and automate more of that upfront process, what should they do?
I mean, we roll around the same theme all the time. Like, you need to get to that lead as they come in, like within seconds, within minutes, right? I know we're busy as attorneys, but you should be able to do that within 5 to 10 minutes, and it needs to be done in a personal way to get that person to stop shopping. If I was shopping around for accounting services and I messaged 5 accounting firms, most likely the accounting firm that messages me first or the first 2 or 3 are the ones that I'm going to talk to and potentially discuss on handling my books, right? Same thing for you. If you're not the first one out of the gate to have that connection with them, you lose the opportunity.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. So the answer is then people would need, how can they create faster response that feels personal if they're so busy?
no, I mean, obviously there's systems out there that can help you do this stuff. Case retention AI is absolutely one of those things. I'm not trying to sell anything here, but we're attorneys. We're busy. We're handling court. We're in court. We're handling cases. We're handling clients. We're arguing with the defense counsel. The thing that gets left to the side is like, where is my next case coming from, right? But if you focus all your time on getting that next case, your client's case suffers. So like you can't do both. So you have to automate one, and the easiest one to automate is the one that is on the intake side, right? Immediate contacting them with SMS. You can do it with almost any system out there in the world running today, like Ring Central or whatever. All these platforms have Zapier integrations. You can immediately text message somebody as soon as they come in to at least start the dialogue out, right? And that way you're not leaving your client's cases, lingering in the darkness in the back of your office somewhere, right? Because they hired you for a job. You should be able to do that job to your best of your ability to help that client with their case, right? Not chase down, like we had this discussion before, a sheet of people who may or may not hire you or may not even be qualified for you to even help them at all, right?
Yeah, if you're just building this list that, okay, well, when I have time, I'll get back to them. They may not be in the market of needing an attorney anymore. They might have either solved that problem or moved on. And so speed is obviously huge. What is your favorite of the KPIs to look at and try to work with?
I honestly think the biggest KPI, there's two I think are really, really key to look at. And this is my personal opinion. It's not necessarily the number of leads. It's the show rate. So you can book consultations all day long, but how many of the people that book actually show up for the call, right? And do you have a process in place to make sure that show rate is good or better or could be great? Are you calling people in advance, a day in advance, and letting them know that, hey, just reminding you of your consultation tomorrow with attorney John Doe. I just want to make sure that you're aware of it. That goes a long way for people to show up. That's one thing. Two is if they don't show up, do you have a process in place to get them back to the appointment again? Things happen for people, especially in the injury world, right?
Right.
If somebody's injured in an auto accident, they may call an attorney for whatever reason, but then they may be back in the hospital or at a doctor's office and may not be able to make their appointment, right? Doesn't mean they don't want to talk to you, but if you don't have a process in place to bring them back to the appointment again, if they no-show, you're losing out on money. Yeah. Two is your conversion rate, your show rate to contract or conversion rate signing process right there in the middle, right? So when somebody shows up, you should send everybody a contract. That's just my personal opinion. You should send everybody a contract. If you're on the phone with them, you should send them a contract. You should go over it with them real quick on the phone and then let them sign it. Or if they don't want to sign it right there on the phone, they can do it at another time. But I find a lot of attorneys will send engagement agreements engagement agreements to people or retainer agreements, and then they just let them get lost in the wind. They don't follow up with them again. They don't say, "Hey, do you have any more questions so we can get everything started?" There's a lot of lost money on that stage right there, like not following up with your contract after you sent them, and there's a lot of lost money on not following up with your no-shows.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting. You address a very mature part of the new like acquisition funnel. So most people are just like, well, I just want more leads, because if I get more leads, it'll work down line. But if you're not fixing the things in the middle, well, are people actually showing up? And when they don't show up, because you already spent the money and energy to get them there once, if they don't, how are you going to get them back? And then same thing, once they're there, how do you move them to the next step? If that is strong, then you can push a lot of people at the front of and bring in more leads and actually grow, right? So I think that's really, really smart. And so if you're looking to improve your law practice through greater efficiency and intelligent marketing, check out everything Chris Lyle's sharing and check out lawhustle.com.